connecting with your audience online. By now we've all been there, where you are speaking, you're presenting, you're doing a webinar, it's online, and you're making jokes and you're giving it your all, but you got nobody on the other side giving you that energy, a laughter, a response, a feedback. You are kind of just pitching it out there into thin air. And how do we know that it's landing? And checking in with people and where they are at. So, and there are many tools we can use, but I think this is a biggie. It's still a biggie for us because we're so human. We want to connect. And the reason why I'm sharing this is because yesterday I was listening to a speaker showcase, and the one lady was doing so well. She was doing so well. She had energy, passion, fire. She was going. And at one point, in the middle of her presentation, she went, "Are you guys there? What? I feel like I'm talking to myself. What's going on here? Is anybody there?" And somebody had to unmute themselves and go, "No, we're here. You're doing great. Keep going." But now, how can we, even though we might have those voices, how can we calm down those voices and know that your audience is there and they're with you and you can kind of feel them? And there's a few things you can do. And the one is to be present. Take your presence with you before you do the talk. So ground yourself, really. I do this with my clients a lot. We actually do exercises to get into our bodies, because even though you can only see this part in the camera, if you're not grounded in your feet, if your feet aren't anchored and planted into the floor and rooted and your body's relaxed and open, all of that is going to come through the camera. So you've got to do everything to align your body, heart, mind, soul, before you step into that camera. And these are tools we used in acting. The actor knows that even though the frame is just here, the connection, the soul heart connection, is a whole body experience. So I want you to be present, because your presence will draw them in, will draw your audience into what you're saying, and you will feel more connected to them. The second thing I want you to do is to remember that this is not about you. This is about them. And even though you can't necessarily hear them, but know that your message is focused on them. And even though the audience is not speaking back, you can pose questions and say to them, I want you to think about this idea. And then how does that settle for you? And sometimes I would also say, let's create a poll and people must engage in the chat box. But I have found in my personal experience that sometimes that throws me off, because I can't check the chat box while talking. So do what manages and works for you. And then the third part is in your prep for your audience. So you can really go the extra mile if you want to connect, if you want to set yourself up for a success that puts you there. And this channel is all about upgrading your speaking and showing up with all of that confidence. So what you can do is you can phone the organizer of where you're speaking at, or the event organizer, wherever your go-to person is, like just really have a phone call with them and ask them questions about your audience member. And in certain cases, it depends from situation to situation, you might want to reach out to 3 or 5 people who are going to be on that call and just ask them a few questions. And this is something that Paul DeToy recommends in his book, The Exceptional Speaker. He says, call ahead of time, speak to a few of the people who are going to be in your audience. Could be a live audience, but I'm also thinking even especially for your online audience, so that you have more of a sense and a connection of who you are talking to and how you can serve them. Because that's when your message lands, is when you are talking to what they need to hear. So in order to connect, go and connect. So they are your 3 things to help you with that non-responsiveness over an online presentation. So firstly, be really present and grounded, be in your body, open up heart, soul, mind, body connection, all of it, so that you can be present. Secondly, focus on who you are talking to. Make it for them. Make it about the value you're giving them. And thirdly, really connect. Really connect with them before the time, so that you can then build on that connection. So I really hope this serves you, and use one of these tools for your next presentation.